Hey everybody, Bobby Klink here from Your Online Genius. Wanted to chat with you today, to go live, to talk about an issue that I'm reminded about all the time, but it actually came up today in talking with someone, so I wanted to go ahead and talk about it today to remind you, to get you thinking about this. Quick reminder for those of you who may not know who I am. Again, I'm Bobby Klink. I'm an online entrepreneur and an intellectual property attorney in Washington, D.C. I help other online entrepreneurs protect their online businesses from legal disasters. I basically help you put in place a legal plan, all the documents, all the contracts you need, just to make sure you're safe, but also give you the guidance you need to make sure that you understand what you need to be doing, what you need to be avoiding, so keep you kind of from stepping on legal landmines. Again, I wanted to go live today briefly to talk about one of those issues. And this issue is an issue that is kind of one of the big hurdles, one of the big obstacles that I think a lot of entrepreneurs have in dealing with legal issues. And that is that they think they can just wait and put off dealing with legal matters. And I get it. You got a lot on your plate. I have a lot on my plate. My to-do list is always longer than the day is, so I never have time to get it all done. So, I'm triaging. That's what I'm doing all day, every day, and I suspect that's also what you're doing. You're triaging. You're trying to get done what you think is kind of the most important and the most urgent task. And in the process, I think legal issues tend to fall by the wayside, right? And I get why that happens. Legal issues fall by the wayside just because they don't seem that pressing, and I get it. They're not going to, it's not something that's going to generate income for you today or tomorrow or something like that. So it's a pain point. It's not something that is going to make you, make you money or make your life better in the short term. It does make your life better, though, and that's the problem. The problem is that legal issues are, in fact, important, and they are urgent. We just don't always know when they're urgent. They're important because taking care of the legal stuff, is what allows you to make sure you own your business, that you own all your assets, that you're not going to get sued and have to spend a bunch of money talking to me or someone else down the line in a crisis. But it's also basically just what you have to do. If you don't do the things right, you could lose your platform. If you're infringing copyrights, for example, on social media, what's going to happen? The social media companies eventually are going to take your content down, and potentially you would lose your website. So, for example, I use a lot. If I had my radio playing right now while I'm doing this Facebook Live, guess what? I would be engaged in copyright infringement because I'm not allowed to play the music on the radio on this Facebook Live. I don't have a license, which is what it's called, to have permission to do that. So, it's things like that a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize, don't know about. They don't realize they're making mistakes. It's what, Don Rumsfeld, I think, referred to, and it's known as the unknown unknowns. It's not, the problem isn't what you know that you're not sure about. It's that the stuff you don't even know that you don't know about. That's the stuff that often trips people up and can be the kind of thing that costs you $10 million down the line, because you lose control of an asset that's huge. Or it could, just be something that costs you tens of thousands of dollars because you get into dispute with someone. But again, I don't know about you, I don't want to lose $10,000. So the important message I have is it is important. But the other point is that it's urgent. And it's urgent because, look, I can help you or you can help yourself fix things if you take care of them before, and again, it depends on what the mistake is, but kind of before you hit a cliff. And it could be, if it's about confidential information, if it's before someone takes your confidential information, we can fix it. We can get the protections in place so that they can't do that. But, once the cat's out of the bag, once the mistake is made and the person has walked off with your confidential information, guess what? There's nothing we can do at that point, probably, because if you didn't take the right protections, you can't stop them from using it. So that's the kind of thing. That's why it becomes urgent. And the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because I actually had someone approach me today to talk about an issue. There's a person who developed this app for, app for phones, and it's been out on the market, I think, about 1.5 years now. And they approached me to say, hey, someone else has copied this idea. Is there anything I can do about it? And I said, well, did you file a patent? No. Is it someone who, you are doing business with? No. It's just someone maybe saw their app and copied it, or maybe didn't even see their app and just came up with the idea on their own. But the problem is, because this person had not taken any steps at the time, there's nothing that you can do to stop it now. I mean, you put something out in the market without protection, and you're going to have a tough time doing much. Again, there are going to be some places where you can get some protections on things like that I don't want to bore you with. You might have copyright protection, you might be able to have some limits, but that's going to be hard. I mean, that only limits little bits. It doesn't limit the ability to do the function, for example, in the case of an app. But that's just kind of an example, and it reminded me of this concept and of the notion that you as entrepreneurs need to be taking care of your legal matters, your legal stuff is what I like to call it, because I don't want to make it complicated. But you need to take care of your legal stuff before a problem comes up. The analogy I like to use is that legal mistakes are kind of like time bombs that you're putting in your business. And if you take the time now, even if you put a bunch of time bombs in your business by making mistakes in the past, if you take time to fix it before those time bombs go off, there may be a little bit of damage. You may have to spend some time. You may have to spend a little bit of money, but you can fix it now. But the problem is that if you wait until one of those time bombs goes off, because, for example, the social media companies take you, shut down your accounts because you're infringing copyrights. Or let's say you have a podcast and you're using music that you don't have a license to, and that person hears it and comes after you. Then all of a sudden you're going to have to pay them, but you're also going to have to try to take all that stuff down and re-edit it, take out that music going forward. So again, the problem is you don't want to be doing those things under a crisis when there's a problem. So if the bomb has already gone off, there's not much that can be done. I mean, sometimes you can contain the damage, sometimes you can do some things, but there's going to be damage. And so that's why I want to stress to you that you do need to worry about your legal affairs. You need to think about these things now and at all times going forward, because now is the time to do it. If you fix it now, again, you can fix it. If you wait till it goes off, it's too late. And again, I've seen this happen over and over again. And once you get into a legal dispute, good luck. I mean, then at that point, you're going to have to hire me or some other lawyer, and you're going to have to spend a lot of money. And you may win, you may lose, but it's going to be expensive. But that could all be avoided if you just take the time to fix it now. So I want to stress to you that getting your legal stuff taken care of is important, and it is urgent. We all know kind of that matrix of, is it important or unimportant, and is it urgent or non-urgent? You want to be dealing with stuff that's important but not urgent. Well, your legal affairs are important and urgent if you're making mistakes. Once you take care of them, they're no longer urgent because you've got a plan in place and you've got all that, and then you can deal with them, and quite honestly, once you really get a good plan in place, you don't have to take a lot of action. You don't have to spend a lot of time going forward once you know the basics, once you get the basic documentation in place and get some basic policies in place. And so that's what I want to stress to you. If you get it taken care of, you can avoid it. And, we're coming towards the end of the year. It's November 16th, 17th, somewhere around there. So everybody's probably thinking about planning for 2018. I know, I, for example, am starting to plan. Luckily, I'm going to be part of a book launch with someone with Michael Hyatt's book, Make It Your Best Year Ever. And so that's getting me excited. And so I'm doing some planning. So I hope you're doing some planning. And I want you to consider taking care of your legal affairs as something that you should take care of. And if possible, why not get it over with? I mean, you could get it over with this year if you just say, hey, I'm going to put this on my to-do list and I'm going to get it done. And if you do, then you're in 2018. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's taken care of. So that's what I'd like to stress to you. If you'd like to learn more about some of the mistakes so you can kind of see why it's important, I've got a free cheat sheet about kind of 4 of the biggest mistakes I see over and over again. And you can download that at mistakes.youronlinegenius.com. Again, you go to mistakes.youronlinegenius.com. You get a free cheat sheet of kind of 4 of the biggest mistakes I see entrepreneurs making over and over again. And that will help you to see why this is important, and may even get you to say, hey, this is stuff I'd never thought about. So it's a good free resource to get you started on your journey and in your planning. So I hope you'll take the time to go ahead and get it, to download it and take care of it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them here on the page. I'm happy to answer them. That's what the page is here for. That's what I'm here for, is to try to help you. So if you have any questions at any point, feel free to let me know, and I will try to answer them. But for now, I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you. I've gotten kind of a course launch out of my system, or kind of behind me, the big parts of it. So now I'll be back on live pretty frequently to help give you some guidance and give you some advice. So I look forward to it, and I will see you next week.